You're listening to Myers-Briggs Question Corner with Edythe Richards.
Today's question comes from Geoff, who asks, what tips do you have for INFPs to stay organized and stick to a routine? Routines, schedules, and organization are not tasks that come naturally to INFP types. It is possible to develop these skills, but like anything else that comes naturally, it will take some hard work and dedication. If you are someone who can relate to this struggle, I'd first like to encourage you to think about what it is that you're trying to organize and what schedule you're trying to stick to. In other words, dig deep. Is it your family or significant other who is bothered by a lack of organizing or planning? Or have you been missing work deadlines, for example? The underlying reason will not only provide insight into how you'll approach working on this, but motivation for sticking to it and seeing it through. A few words about INFPs that may shed some light into this issue. Most INFPs I've known crave autonomy. So if they're working for a boss, for example, who is micromanaging and imposes timelines and hovers over every facet of their work, eventually the INFP is either going to leave or rebel, possibly in a passive-aggressive way. In either case, this type of work environment is not going to make the best use of the INFP's great skills. In a case like this, I'd recommend that the INFP spend a set amount of time thinking about their own motivation for staying in this job. Is it a job that's a means to an end? Do you need the paycheck? Can you compromise your own values for 8 hours a day, knowing you can go home and be yourself? Conforming to someone else's standards for organizing and follow-through may be a high price to pay. Here are 4 strategies that can help INFPs stay organized and stick to a routine while still honoring themselves. 1. Use either a written calendar or planner, or use an electronic schedule that sets reminders for you. It's easy for INFP types to get distracted by reading articles, watching movies, or even working on a project that's personally fulfilling for them, and forget everything else. For some INFPs, an alarm to remind them to stop is what's needed. 2. Let others help you. Because INFPs are naturally attuned to others' needs, if they make a promise to someone, especially if it's someone they personally care about, they'll be more likely to complete the task or project if they know it's important to that person they care about. I have an INFP friend who's married to an ESTJ who needs to live in a clean and organized space. Because she knows this is very important to him, she works hard to put things in their proper place, pay bills before they're due, and let her husband know about schedule changes and unexpected things that come up. 3. Set a goal, but allow yourself flexibility in achieving it. I know another INFP who has made exercise a priority for himself for years. He has a strict schedule for going to the gym because maintaining a healthy lifestyle is important to him. He sets aside 3 days a week where he focuses on this, but he changes up the type of exercise every few weeks. This winter, for example, he's working on strength training, so his 3 days a week are devoted to that. In the spring, it will likely be something else. 4. Know that a strictness in routine doesn't have to be punitive. Routines provide discipline for INFPs to accomplish the things they truly want to accomplish. Without defined deadlines, it's easy for INFPs to flounder, perfecting their work or whatever task they're working on, chasing an imaginary flawlessness. Structure can ironically provide a grounding baseline for INFPs to focus on their imaginations, patterns, and new ideas, which is ultimately where they're going to do their best work. In fact, being organized can actually help an INFP to reduce the mental and physical effort they burn up. The caveat to all of this is that any type of structure or routine must be aligned with the INFP's inner core values, or else it won't stick and it won't work long term. For my INFP listeners out there, if you question the reasoning for the structure, or if there's a nagging voice inside your head that says this isn't right, or it doesn't feel right, listen to that voice and find a method that works for you. The worst thing for an INFP is to do anything that doesn't allow them to be authentic. New routines must allow INFPs to develop personally or spiritually and relate to their own motivation and values. In conclusion, please remember that any Myers-Briggs type can show up as disorganized or lacking structure. This is not something that only INFP types struggle with. The Myers-Briggs is an assessment that describes our behavioral tendencies in life. It's not a label. Anyone can strengthen his or her organizing skills. 4 ways to do this that other INFPs have found helpful include setting alarms and loosely using day planners and calendars, letting others help, and understanding why keeping organized and setting routines is helpful for those around them, having a goal with a deadline but allowing flexibility with how to achieve the goal, and keeping in mind that organization and routine can actually be helpful and allow for more time to envision and be creative. Finally, INFPs, it's okay not to be super organized or follow a strict routine. I've never met an INFP who didn't get things done in their own way, in their own time. Thank you for the question, Geoff.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you'd like to hear more, or you'd like to submit a question yourself, then you can find us at www.atopcareer.com. Until next time. MBTI and Myers-Briggs are registered trademarks of the MBTI Trust.